Most real estate agents are sitting on a problem that they don't even recognize. And that problem is a giant missed opportunity. And it has to do with their database. Now, let me frame this correctly. Is that as a service professional, you don't have a product. You are the product. And so your database is your business. And what I'm here to tell you is that you're thinking about it way too small. And on this episode of the Built on Referrals podcast, welcome back, by the way, I'm excited to help expose this for you and show you exactly what you can do to get rid of this missed opportunity and actually capitalize on what is already right underneath you. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The strongest referral-based agents, or I would even add professionals, do not just ask, who do I know, right? It's bigger than that. They ask, who already has the trust of the people I want to serve? Okay. Now that one question changes everything about how you build and use your database. Keep in mind, the database is the business. So we're changing the paradigm of this. So the first section here I want to talk about is how you need to think differently about your database. And then we're going to get into more tactical about what you should be doing inside of your CRM or whatever you use to hold your database. Okay. So here's the first point is I want you to stop seeing your database as a list of names. Okay. See, most of you, and I would say even me, have thought of a CRM as a storage container, right? It holds names, phone numbers, emails, birthdays, anniversaries, even transaction dates, maybe even a few notes, right? And it's fine, but it's not strategic enough. And I believe strongly that that's why most people don't go back to their CRM very often, is because it's just a storage container. It's like the Tupperware in the fridge with leftovers. I already know what's there, right? Not that exciting. I'm not going back to that, right? Whereas top agents, top professionals see their CRM as a relationship map. Okay, interesting, right? See, they're not just tracking people and kind of storing people's info. They're tracking trust, influence, opportunity, proximity, referral potential, right? All of these things, when you start to see the people in that database differently, it's not just a contact anymore, right? A contact may be a past client, a future client, right? But it could also be a connector. It could also be a professional partner, a community leader. It could also be a client source, a gatekeeper, a trusted advisor, a portal into a larger, warm market. And those couple of words right there, I want you to think about. A portal to a larger, warm market. In other words, you might be thinking of your database of having I've got 500 people in there, and if I keep in contact with them and I serve them correctly, that's going to create maybe 10% return each year or 50 transactions from that database, right? That might be how you're thinking. But what if some subset of that database were people who had their own database, right? Now it's not about who do I need to drip on. By the way, who wants to be dripped on? It sounds like a bad roof, right? But it's who has access to the people that I want to serve. Right? That is how you should think about a database, or at least some subset of your database. I'm not saying that the other uses of a database are irrelevant or not important. They are. But obviously, if you're not going back and spending a lot of time in your CRM, then it's not a map for you. It's simply a storage container, right? It's that Tupperware. I like that. So the first distinction, number one, is you distinguish between end client relationships and upstream relationships. Now, slight plug for the book, but I really believe in these principles. That's why I spent time and effort writing that book, right? Most real estate agents focus, again, heavily on the end client relationship. And again, you professionals in other industries, same thing, right? You really see as who are my next customers, right? Friends, family, neighbors, clients, past clients. Don't say that. That's a bad word. My dear friend Amy Stockberger taught me that. That's a 4-letter word. Past client, don't say past client. They're clients, okay? They're always clients. But your sphere, your leads, maybe open house contacts, online inquiries, all those things are database. And I would definitely... the online inquiries, unless you've had actually a connection with them and they're more than that now, I would say that's just a mailing list, right? So let me make that distinction. Now, those people matter, but most of them are occasional referral sources, and maybe, once every couple of years or even a decade, actually a client, right? They may refer you every once in a while, but it's like, what about the people who are dealing with people all day, every day, right? Upstream professionals are different, right? They may be in conversations with your ideal clients every week. In other words, they could open up the floodgates for you. Imagine having a top great referral coming every once or twice a week. It's unheard of to have one of your clients do that for you, but that's not out of the question when you think of financial advisors, estate planning attorneys, divorce attorneys, CPAs, even roofer, painter, plumber, right? Insurance agents, builders, business coach, HR leaders, relocation specialists. The list goes on and on. These people are dealing with people in and around life events. They know what's happening, right? These aren't just potential referrers. They're sitting at the intersection of trust, like they have a trusted relationship with these people, and timing. Like they know, and that's the big difference, is that oftentimes when you think about a database, it's like, yeah, these people all trust me, but it's the timing. They're going to need you once every 10 years. And you're trying to nurture and cultivate these relationships for such a long period of time. And what I'm here to tell you is that you don't have to just do that, because somebody else is doing the same thing for their people, and they will tell you when the people that they have trusted, that trust them, where it intersects with timing. That's the key, right? Is that people actually need me now. I have a quick question for you. Are you capturing the referral opportunities that are already within reach, or are you letting them slip through the cracks? Take 2 minutes at builtonreferrals.com/referral score. You'll get a referral score out of 100, quick steps to improve, and we'll send you a copy of the Upstream model, both a digital copy and an audio version. Go to builtonreferrals.com/referral score. So the third point I want to make here is that top professionals, they don't just see it as having affection. Oh, that person loves me, right? They would love to help me, right? It doesn't mean that they can, right? Typically, we overvalue when people like us. We more want to pay attention to who has access, right? Who likes us that has access. Now, again, we're thinking like a business owner here, and I'm not trying to diminish the value of personal relationships of people who like you, have affection for you. That's very important in your personal life. But if you're going to grow a real business, inside your business, you need to be more thoughtful about access than just affection, okay? I don't want to downplay the importance of a great relationship, but just don't overthink the affection side, because affection doesn't help you scale, doesn't help you actually grow, right? The best professionals understand that both matter. You need people who have access to a lot more people who also have affection for you, right? So the question for you right now to answer is, am I organizing my database around who likes me or around who has the trust of the people that I want to serve, okay? So that's key. And this is another thing I want you to think about, and I shared this earlier. Think of your database not just as a list of people, but as portals. In other words, not prospects, but portals, right? Portals to a whole bunch of other people that they're nurturing on your behalf, right? Behind that one relationship can be 200 clients, right? 1,000 clients. Like, it all depends upon who, right? It's about the who. It's not the what, it's the who, right? So keep in mind that once you identify who these people are, treat that relationship thoughtfully, right? Is that we don't like to be dripped on or spammed. That's not adding value, right? This is probably a topic for another episode, but value shows up in the form of something that actually makes their life easier. And you giving them one more email to wade through isn't necessarily valuable, right? It could be, depending upon who it is, right? But it's not just showing up saying, hey, can I get some referrals from you? I hear you're a good referral source, right? It's more than that. It's about building trust with them, right? It's about having a situation where you're actually making not just their life, but their business easier. You've increased their capacity and making it easier for them to do and keep the promises to their clients that they want to keep, okay? So that's the important part, okay? So that's part one, is how I want you to think about this is, number one, portals, not prospects, okay? And that inside of your database should be more than just containers of people who could be your clients at some point, okay? So this is really part two that I want to really cover now, which is what you actually should be doing with your CRM. Again, keep in mind, it's no longer just a storage container, okay? End client categories are like past clients. No, don't say that. Clients, right? Neighbors, friends, family, leads, right? That's a database, okay? That's a CRM. That's a storage container. What I want you to have inside your database are people who can actually influence. I want you to have a separate subset inside of your database, right? You could call them upstream partners. You could call them professional partners. I think partner is the right word, right? So however you want to label that, but you need to have them tagged inside your database. You know exactly who they are, right? They should not receive, by the way, the same communication that everybody else receives. This is not just mass blast everybody the same thing, right? While a homeowner may value some sort of specific update around what you do, a tax professional, for example, may not. That's not really helping their business, right? Maybe helping their home, but that's putting them back in the category of just being an end consumer, right? Like, what could you offer to them about your industry that makes their job easier inside of theirs? Okay, so here's the second point. Once you have these people categorized, Each of these, think of it like a 1-point free throw in basketball and a 3-point shot with a foul, right? It's worth 4 points. This is a big deal. So don't just, in fact, I said this in a previous episode. You can be efficient with things, don't be efficient with people, okay? And especially don't try and be efficient with people who can be very beneficial to you. Treat them like an individual. Give them individual help and attention. Email them directly, personally, right? Not just kind of group text or group emails, right? Find out what they want and be thinking about how you can make their life easier, and ask them, hey, what might I be able to do for your industry that would make your job easier, right? And you can actually grade these people, right? For example, an A-level professional. I know many people are accustomed to organizing their database, A, B, C, right? An A person may be somebody who has the ability to refer you even as often as weekly or monthly. B might be quarterly, and C might be twice annually. Think about that as you get to know these people so that you can give them the proper attention and value. Again, that's how businesses work, is you allot resources to areas of highest opportunity, right? You're not cheapening the relationship by doing that. You're just saying, where are my opportunities at and how much individual attention do I need to be giving relative to how much of a return this could produce, okay? Now, inside your CRM, you need to be tracking more than just contact information. In other words, met at a chamber event, nice CPA. Like, I'm sorry, but that might not do it, right? What you should be saying is, who do they serve, right? Who's their ideal client to work with? Where are those clients currently coming from, right? How does what I do show up in their business? What's a common question or pitfall that their clients have that you might be able to answer? What's a part of their business that they wish could be stronger, right? One area of focus they're focusing on now. What have I committed to do and how am I following up on that? Like, all of these things make you very valuable if you're in there regularly following up on these things, okay? So actually have a database that makes it look like you care, because you should, by the way. You should care a lot. And then create very specific follow-up plans for these people, right? Just being very active about not like, what can I get from you? But hey, I have an idea that I think might be valuable for you. That is well received, especially if it's actually an idea that matters, right? Okay, and one of the last points I want to make here today regarding your CRM is that CRMs are getting better and better at automation. And keep in mind that automation has a place, no doubt. In fact, there's some amazing things that we can do with AI today that we weren't able to do in the past. But again, remember, you can be efficient with things, don't be efficient with people, or those people will not be a true relationship, okay? What I want you to think in mind is to not confuse automation with relationship, okay? Use automation to support memory and consistency, but don't try and use it to replace you, right? It should support you, not replace you, okay? So, for example, you should actually use the reminders inside of there as to when to reach out. Don't rely upon your memory. Oh, I haven't talked to that estate attorney in 12 months. No, actually set reminders. And I don't care if it's inside your CRM or some other tool, but actually use automation and tools to remind you as to when you should be showing up, okay? What opportunities emerging, what value you can provide next, who they should be introducing. Like, actually treat this like a big, important opportunity, because it is. So again, as we wrap up this episode, I just want to be very clear that your database is your business, number one. Number two, you're thinking about it too small, okay? Number three, the way to expand it is to think about your database as a portal to other databases, okay? And inside of your CRM, it should reflect that. There's a subset of these other professionals. They're treated in such a way that you recognize that there are literally hundreds of clients at stake, and automating your way to that and trying to just be efficient is not the right way to do it. So I appreciate you tuning in to today's episode. I look forward to the next one. I've got some exciting things to share in our next episode. So I hope you're following the show now. I hope you're seeing that we're putting out about 2 episodes every week. Short, sweet, to the point, tactical, opening up your mind on how you can build a modern business on a timeless foundation. That is our mission here. That timeless foundation is relationships, right? We're using all the modern day tools and tactics, but we're not forgetting that at the end of the day, relationships matter most. So don't forget that. And that's, again, our mission here, again, at Built on Referrals. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care.